You think your life is hard because your Wi-Fi is slow and your coffee order got messed up. A medieval peasant would look at your life and think you're living in paradise, because their normal day would kill you before lunch. You wake up, not because your alarm went off, because the rooster just screamed in your face and you're freezing. The temperature inside your house is 40 degrees because medieval homes had no insulation and minimal heating. You're sleeping on a straw mattress that's infested with lice, fleas, and bedbugs that have been feeding on you all night. Your body is covered in bites. This is normal. You don't have another mattress. This is the mattress. You're wearing the same clothes you wore yesterday and the day before, and every day for the past 6 months. Medieval peasants owned one set of clothes, a rough wool tunic that's never been washed because soap doesn't exist for people like you. The tunic is stiff with dried sweat, dirt, and body oils. It smells like a dumpster. You smell like a dumpster. Everyone smells like a dumpster. No one notices. But here's where your day gets worse. You need to use the bathroom. There is no bathroom. There's a hole in the ground behind your house that's shared with 3 other families. In winter, it's frozen solid. In summer, it's a disease-breeding pit of human waste that attracts rats and flies. You squat over this hole in the dark at 4 a.m. You wipe with leaves or straw because toilet paper won't be invented for another 600 years. 4:30 a.m. Breakfast. You're starving because you haven't eaten since yesterday afternoon. Your breakfast is a piece of dark bread so hard you have to soak it in water to chew it. The bread is made from rye mixed with ground peas, beans, and sometimes sawdust to stretch the flour. It's also your lunch and dinner. Bread is 70% of your diet. The rest is cabbage, onions, and occasionally a thin porridge made from barley. You're drinking ale. Not because you want to get drunk at 4:30 a.m. The alcohol content is about 1%, but because the water is literally poisonous. Medieval water sources are contaminated with animal waste, human sewage, and parasites. Drinking water gives you dysentery that kills you in 3 days. Everyone drinks weak ale all day, every day, including children. You're mildly buzzed 24/7 just to stay alive. Time to work. You're a farmer, because 90% of medieval people are farmers. But here's what kills modern people immediately. You're doing hard manual labor for 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, in all weather conditions. No breaks except to eat your dirt bread. No sick days. No vacation. No weekends except Sunday, when you're required to go to church for 3 hours. Your body is your only tool, and medieval farming destroys bodies. Within 2 hours, your hands are bleeding. You've never done manual labor like this. You have blisters on top of blisters. Your back is spasming. By hour 6, you're dehydrated because you're sweating through your wool tunic that you can't remove because you don't have another shirt. By hour 8, you're delirious from heat exhaustion or hypothermia depending on the season. 12 p.m. Lunch break. You get 20 minutes. You eat more bread. You drink more ale. Your hands are bleeding onto your food. You don't care because you're too exhausted to care. Other peasants are missing fingers, limbs, or eyes from farming accidents. There are no safety regulations, no workers' compensation, no medical care. You get injured, you work injured, or you starve. But here's the detail that breaks modern people: the monotony. Every single day is exactly the same. Wake up at 4 a.m. Eat bread. Work in the field for 12 hours. Eat bread. Sleep. Repeat. For your entire life. There are no weekends off. No vacations. No career changes. No hobbies. No entertainment except church on Sunday. You were born a farmer. You will die a farmer. And every day between is identical hard labor until your body gives out. 1 p.m. Back to work. Your lord's bailiff rides by on a horse to make sure you're working hard enough. He's not here to help. He's here to threaten you. If your harvest is bad, you owe the same taxes anyway. If you can't pay, your lord takes your ox, your plow, or your house. Resistance means prison, torture, or execution. You're not a citizen with rights. You're property that happens to be alive. The bailiff notices you're working slowly because you're literally dying of exhaustion. He threatens to increase your taxes. You work faster. Your body is shutting down. You don't have a choice. 5 p.m. Work ends. You've been awake for 13 hours. You've been doing hard manual labor for 12 of them. You walk home with no energy left. On the way, you pass the village well, where everyone gets water for cooking. You see a dead rat floating in it. You pull it out with your bleeding hands and fill your bucket. This water will be your dinner. 5:30 p.m. Dinner preparation. Your wife, who's been working just as hard as you, plus caring for 5 children in a one-room house, is cooking dinner. Dinner is cabbage boiled in the rat water. Maybe there's an onion. Maybe someone caught a fish, and you get a bite. Probably not. It's cabbage and bread. Again, you're eating this meal with your hands because forks won't be common for another 300 years. You're eating directly from the communal pot that everyone in the family sticks their unwashed, manure-covered hands into. This is how diseases spread. This is every meal. But here's what modern people can't psychologically handle. Your wife has been pregnant 8 times. 3 of your children died before age 5 from diseases that are easily preventable now. You can't afford a doctor, not that medieval doctors can do anything except bleed him with leeches and pray. You're 32 years old. You look 60. Your teeth are rotting out of your skull because medieval diets have no dental care and lots of abrasive bread that grinds down enamel. Your back is permanently damaged from decades of manual labor. You have parasites living in your intestines that are slowly killing you. You'll be dead by 40 if you're lucky. 7 p.m. The worst part of your day. It's dark. You have one candle made from animal fat that costs a day's wages. You can't afford to light it except on special occasions. Your house is pitch black. In summer, you go to bed at 7 p.m. because there's nothing else to do in the dark. In winter, you go to bed at 5 p.m. Your house is one room, 15 feet by 15 feet, that you share with your wife, 5 children, and occasionally the ox when it's too cold outside. The floor is dirt. The walls are wattle and daub, sticks and mud mixed with animal dung that's hardened into walls. The roof is thatch that leaks when it rains. You're all sleeping in the same room. You can hear everything. There is no privacy. There has never been privacy. But here's the part that destroys modern people. Your house smells like a combination of human body odor, animal manure, rotten food, smoke from the cooking fire, and human waste from the latrine hole 20 feet away. You don't notice because you've never smelled anything else. A modern person walking into a medieval peasant home would vomit immediately and continuously. You're lying on your lice-infested straw mattress. Your body hurts everywhere. You're diseased. You're 32, and you feel like you're dying because you are dying. Slowly, painfully. This is your life. This was yesterday. This will be tomorrow. And this is a good day. This is a day when nothing went wrong. No one got injured. The weather was decent. The Lord didn't demand extra taxes. No one died. This is what medieval peasants considered a successful day. Now let's talk about what happens when things go wrong. Because they go wrong constantly. Winter. You think today was hard. Winter is a survival scenario. There's no work in frozen fields, which means no income. Your food stores from last harvest need to last until spring. If you miscalculated, you starve. Actual starvation. Your children's stomachs are distended from malnutrition. You're eating tree bark and boiled leather to survive. 1 in 5 peasants doesn't make it through winter. The cold kills. Your house has minimal heating from a cooking fire that barely warms the room. You're sleeping in your clothes under a thin wool blanket. The temperature inside your house is below freezing. Children freeze to death in their sleep. The elderly freeze to death sitting by the fire. You wake up every morning unsure if everyone in your family is still alive. Disease. The Black Death killed 1/3 of Europe in 4 years. But even without plague, Disease is constant. Dysentery from contaminated water. Typhoid from poor sanitation. Parasites from unwashed food. Infections from minor cuts that become gangrenous. There are no antibiotics, no vaccines, no germ theory. You get sick, you either survive or you don't. Most don't. Your village loses 5, 10 people every year to disease. You've watched children die. You've watched women die in childbirth, a 10% mortality rate that makes pregnancy Russian roulette. Death is so common you're numb to it. Violence. Your lord decides he needs more taxes to fund a war you don't understand and won't benefit from. He sends soldiers to collect. They take your ox, your only means of plowing fields. Without the ox, you can't farm. Without farming, you can't eat. You protest. They beat you unconscious and take your eldest son as a conscript soldier. You never see him again. Bandits roam the countryside because everyone is starving and desperate. They attack your village at night, stealing what little you have. They kill your neighbor who tried to resist. The Lord's soldiers don't protect you. They're too busy collecting taxes. But here's what finally breaks modern people: the hopelessness. There is no way out. You can't quit your job. You don't have a job. You're tied to the land legally. You can't move. Leaving your lord's estate without permission is a crime. You can't improve your situation. Social mobility doesn't exist. You were born a peasant. You will die a peasant. And your children will die peasants. You're not living. You're surviving. Every single day is a desperate struggle to get enough food to eat and stay alive until tomorrow. There is no future to work toward, no dreams to pursue, no hope that life will improve. This is it. This is all life will ever be. Modern people complain about 40-hour work weeks. You work 80-hour weeks of brutal manual labor. Modern people complain about their salary. You don't have a salary. You work for the right to keep some of what you grow after your lord takes most of it. Modern people complain about their commute. You walk everywhere because you don't own a horse and never will. You have running water. They had dysentery water with dead rats in it. You have central heating. They had hypothermia. You have grocery stores with fresh food. They had bread so hard it broke their teeth and cabbage boiled in contaminated water. You have modern medicine that makes a cut finger a minor inconvenience. They had infections that killed half the people who got them. Your hard day is their fantasy. Your worst day, the day everything went wrong. You got stuck in traffic. Your boss yelled at you. You had to skip lunch, is still infinitely better than their best day. You went home to a heated house, took a hot shower, dry, fresh food, and slept in a clean bed with no parasites. Because compared to them, you are. So next time you think your life is hard, remember this: you wouldn't survive one day as a medieval peasant. Not because you're weak, but because their normal was a level of suffering that modern humans can't even comprehend. The gap between your life and theirs isn't just comfort, it's the difference between living and barely surviving. And that's why you should be grateful you were born in the 21st century. Because if you weren't, you'd be 32 years old, looking 60, with rotting teeth, permanent back damage, parasites eating you from the inside. Living in a one-room dirt floor house that smells like a sewer. Eating bread mixed with sawdust, drinking weak ale because the water is poisonous. Working 80-hour weeks until your body breaks, watching your children die from preventable diseases, with absolutely no hope that tomorrow will be any different than today. That was normal for 90% of humans for most of human history. You got lucky.